Alright everyone, we are back here with the Nexus Gaming series, but we are transitioning over to Division E here, and Trabe has left us, but we are joined by another fantastic co-caster here in NGS. Tyro, how are you doing on this Thursday night?
I'm doing wonderful. I hate Treb, that's a secret.
Womp womp. Awesome. So we're just getting Lami set up. Sorry for things being a couple minutes late, folks. We had that last series go on a bit longer than intended, but both of these teams, they are prompt, they are ready to go. So let's not hold up anyone any longer as we explain what happened to get us here to Cursed Hollow. Tyro, since you managed the coin flip today, since I was late, why don't you give folks the rundown?
Alright, we had Pigeon Stitches call the flip. They lost that call. Stats for Cats chose to pick hero first. Then Pigeon Stitches banned Braxis Holdout. Stats for Cats banned Sky Temple. Pigeon Stitches chose Cursed Hollow for map number 1. And for map number 2, we will be going to... Oh man, Towers of Doom.
I am so excited for Towers of Doom to be the last map of the evening, because there is never a bad Towers of Doom game in my opinion. Especially, I feel like I haven't seen any in NGS that are really one-sided.
Yeah. My team is starting to dig Towers of Doom. We still got a couple other favorite maps, and who knows, maybe we'll see a Towers of Doom game in my game against NorthStars. Nice that I'm getting to watch this and cast this at the same time. Looking forward. But right out of the gate, Raynor and Whitemane both banned, and then a Lunara ban. Lunara's a bit interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Lunara had a bit of a hot spike in HGC sometime last year that was pretty quick to fizzle, I think. But I think given how large Cursed Hollow is, being able to have that vision around the map, around the bosses, is always special. But I don't know if it's anything Pigeon might have prepared going into this map, so I don't know if it's a target ban or just a general Cursed Hollow ban.
Yeah, I've got to believe it's a target ban. Just because there's other heroes that do provide that vision. Tracer, first pick. Wow.
This is getting weird fast, and I like it from NorthStars. Yeah, the first pick Tracer is a statement, to say the least.
I'm curious to see if you're going to pair Tracer with the new Tyrande and the way that she can heal heroes that are just a mile away from her.
That is right. We don't have the rework tweak ban like we do for new heroes, so new Tyrande available and ready if teams are willing. You're going to see the Meriden and Genji coming out in the 1-2 for Pigeons.
I like the Genji pick. The deflect against Tracer can be very useful if she's not paying attention. And all around, he's just he's a great hero to have in almost any team fight.
Decker Kane, though, a great support to have in any team fight, because those mana potions can keep someone alive for a very long time. Paired with the Lord of Terror, I wonder if we're going to potentially see, or more in general, what might be the follow-up if we do see a Lightning Breath, which seems to be the go-to now, or if this is a scenario where we end up seeing a Apocalypse Diablo.
It's a good question. On this map, there's definitely a case to be made for both ultimates. Kind of shocked me though, getting that first pick Tracer, and then turning around and going with a more standard Diablo Deckard. I'm curious to see what kind of surprises that NorthStars have us in the 4th and 5th slots.
Yeah, will be very interesting for sure. They still need that offlane pressure. They still need follow-up damage to help out that Tracer as well. I'm wondering if we would see a double support, like a Tassadar or Tyrande, like we mentioned. Although she's far more on the solo heal route these days. But the mage ban coming out doesn't really tell me too much about what they might be thinking about.
Gotta love the Dahaka pick, especially on this map. It's so strong.
Yeah, it's so incredibly strong. Taking away the Phoenix as well as an option for that Diablo to pair with later on. Also a great call. I wonder what the support will be, though, for Pigeon.
I hear the call.
Jaina Nazebo.
Double mage to finish it off. A little bit surprised by the Nazebo pick here, especially whenever Cursed Hollow is so big, and you definitely know this. You can't run a 1-4. You have to run a 1-3-1. And to see Jaina Nazebo, you might be able to take advantage of this, especially with Phoenix, especially with Dahaka. Let's see what Pigeon Stitches has to answer with this, and that's an Uther.
We see an Uther for that Genji. Give that Divine Shield potential. This is these are both very quirky drafts for both these teams, and I am just bubbling with excitement of what is about to unfold in this chaos.
Right? No, I like it. I remember back when Uther Genji was such a big thing before they nerfed that combo. I'm curious to see if Pigeon Stitches can pull it off still. If so, that's definitely an interesting fight to watch. Exciting, and it's always fun to see Genji get like 3 or 4 resets in a row.
Oh, for sure. Plus, if this Uther ends up being, you know, godlike and being able to get those stuns onto that Tracer and have that damage potential from the Genji to pick her out, which is usually no easy task, it's going to put Pigeon Stitches sitting in a real nice spot, I think, throughout this entire game.
I agree. Now, the one thing I am a little worried for Pigeon Stitches is that the only consistent damage that they have for Tracer is Phoenix. That nice right click who can simply say, I don't care what your mobility is like, I'm just going to poke at you anytime you get near me.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how early that Tracer pick was, so the follow-up, you have Jones on Muradin, you have the Stormbolt, Phoenix is fine, but you still have to go through that shield, you have turnaround potential from everyone else on Pigeon Stitches for that Tracer, so definitely not going to be the easiest game for them. I think. But we're going to find out. As the game gets booted and we get here, game number 1, let's get to it. In the blue, we are going to have Pigeon. We're going to have Deathchild on the Muradin, Black and Avian on Dahaka, Fox will be on Genji, B-Pipe on Uther, and CN Shives on Phoenix.
And on the red for NorthStars, we're going to have Stats for Cats on Diablo, Brother Keith on Tracer, Mandicant on Deckard, Nakani on Nazebo, and is that Jonas on Jaina?
Jonas on Jaina. Love alliteration there.
Yeah, a little bit of a tongue twister.
Nothing like a tongue twister in a second in a cast here at NGS. Very curious to see what we're gonna have for talents here. We're gonna have. This is interesting. So Feast on Fear being picked up for Diablo, which I don't think is a talent I've seen picked up very often whatsoever.
I understand the argument to be made in it, but Devil's Due is still so strong.
We're gonna have to see how that adjustment ends up paying off for the NorthStars here. Black and Avian, though, just sitting here while Nazebo takes out these minions. No pressure. Nothing. But we're gonna have Jaina falling here in a mid-brawl that we accidentally missed there, so... First blood, nut scene, going great.
I was busy staring at the talents. No, nothing else out of the ordinary picked up. Everyone else picking talents that fit the role. I like Arsenal Synergy out from Phoenix here. It's going to give him a lot of wave clear and burst potential, especially against that Tracer.
And this is a very early camp here coming out for Pigeon Stitches, and they don't have the damage coming out from Genji to make it go any faster, which might be why they've opted to go for it so incredibly early, while Fox maintains the status quo here in the mid lane, trying to get out those shuriken simply clear in a very low fashion way.
I'm curious to. Oh wow, that could have been a very bad position for Genji. I'm curious to see if they're going to try to punish them for this early camp because they've been gone off the map for a very long time.
It's been a very long time. That's like me when I remember that Thrall can't do camps as quickly as he used to, and I'm like, I got this, and then halfway through, like, I don't got this. But eventually being picked up to help in that mid lane. The first tribute will spawn in the bottom, so looking forward to seeing Pigeon Stitches be able to possibly get this top camp. Genji already working on it to add to that pressure once the spawns.
I feel bad for Tracer here. There is no way she's clearing that camp.
Yeah, Brother Keep, again, we talked about the early Tracer, and we're just seeing how that's playing out so far. Too afraid to go in. That Muradin would absolutely punish along with B-Pipe. Can't do anything about the camp. Going to get a response from Mendicant, the support, to help with that as well. The Shadow Charge going in onto Muradin. Tribute spawns. And the NorthStars spent time cleaning up that camp and probably won't be able to rotate here in time, but we're gonna have to see if Jonas maybe can stall for long enough.
I like the idea of maybe giving up the first objective, since it has actually no immediate value, and just soaking the waves. Trying to push out a little bit, maybe get a little bit better positioning against a rotating composition here, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
And these picks on Jaina are happening way too fast for me to be able to move from the other side of the map to go see them. Jonas getting, I think, caught out 3 times so far, or 2 times rather. Both kills of this game are the fall of that Jaina. Gonna have to watch out for that position a bit more. It's better that they're early here rather than later in the game when the health revive is going to take a lot longer and there's way more at stake. So get the jitters out now and you know, reestablish yourself going into the rest of this early game.
If anything, Jaina looks maybe a little bit cold to me. Maybe it's the first game of the day. It just doesn't seem like she's warmed up yet.
That potentially could be the case here. Have another bottoms tribute spawning. This time it will be in favor for the NorthStars. Fox going in deep on
Deckard in
Mendicant, though.
trouble. Jaina in trouble.
And Jaina in trouble.
Jaina living with just like 10 health.
Barely able to escape. Not one more shuriken to finish it off. But as for stats for Cats,
Diablo?
looking a bit more precarious. The pulsebound goes out onto Muradin. Fox is on the chase though, trying to take down Brother Keith, but it is not to be. That's 2 kills that have escaped this Genji.
Nazeebo will not escape though. Genji does finish him off with the help of Dahaka, and they've got vision. Pigeon Stitches looking really strong right now.
Yeah, they are feeling very confident, I would say, in this match number 1 here. The Vision Camp Steal is great for the time being. Going to likely force Jaina to have to show there at some point. The question is when. Seeing the change up, Dahaka coming out onto the bottom lane. And against that Dahaka. So this is now curse point potentially for Pigeon Stitches. I wonder if they opt to give this up, knowing that an early game curse maybe not necessarily the most strong in the game, giving their opponents the opportunity instead to stall out that phase while getting pressure out. But it doesn't look like that's going to necessarily be the case.
I like taking the objective here. They are almost 10 while NorthStars is really far away. If they get this and get 10 during curse, they have a very strong push potential.
They absolutely do, and we'll have to see if they can convert a couple kills. Brother Keith already getting very low. Fox diving right onto the back line. Stats for Cats stuck in the zombie wall along with that Dahaka. A lot of damage going out onto them. So far, no kills. Tracer going back onto Fox now. Stats for Cats trying to back up. The healing potions are there, but the tongue coming out from Dahaka is going to help secure kill number 1. Nakani ends up falling, but the pulse bomb being able to get out that Genji at the same time. Jonas looking very low again, but the Iceland's being able to confirm a kill there. More potions coming out to assist in that escape.
That actually turned out about as well for NorthStars as what it could have. Yeah, the curse was taken, but there's going to be almost no value out of it as both Genji and Phoenix are down.
Yeah, a lot of that wave clear that comes from the Phoenix and that push potential not up here. But Tahaka still going in, trying to get damage out onto this gate. I don't think this is going to net too much. B-Pipe, though, trying to get that top fort taken down, and it should fall here. Bottom fort also falling. Jonas simply trying to deal with the waves down there, but the rotation coming into mid next to see what more they can capture before this first ends in 10 seconds. And it's looking like a boss.
Yeah, this is absolutely the right move from Pigeon Stitches. NorthStars don't quite have 10. They're not going to have 10 for maybe another 10 seconds or so, and that should be enough time.
That should absolutely. We have also that could be utilized, the deflect coming out from Genji to repel some of that damage coming out from the boss. But I think just the sheer amount of power for Pigeon Stitches right now is enough to convert that. So now this boss going to a lane that's already lost its main fort, so the defense will have to be on, is going to give Pigeon Stitches the opportunity maybe to do more damage in mid, but it's looking like they might come up here for a boss steal instead. That's for Cats not spying it out, heading to bottom. This is going to be a double boss here for Pigeon Stitches.
I'm a little surprised. This is a little bit risk. I feel like Jaina alone could, or Jaina or Nazebo alone could be enough to clear this boss and not allow it to have that keep, and if they weren't careful up there, that could easily be a wipe. But no, we're going to have NorthStars defend this bottom boss and then move to defend another one.
Yeah, having to constantly rotate to keep up with this pressure that Pigeon Stitches is putting onto all sides of the map. Genji was able to grab the Siege Giants as well to assist in this push, and so with 13 approaching, this is going to be very dangerous.
Little bit of an interesting choice to note here. Uther did go Divine Shield as we expected, but Genji goes X-Strike.
And that X-Strike converts the kill onto Diablo there. Daru coming out from the boss onto Jaina, ends up falling. Scroll Ceiling trying to hurt the members of Pigeon Stitches, but that is 2 members down for the NorthStars. The Purification Salvo coming out.
That
Fox
Deckard is in a lot of trouble.
Ends up falling to Fox, diving in, barely able to get out. The Zombie Wall, though, coming out onto Murden, at least converts a kill for the NorthStars.
The NorthStars are in a bit of trouble. I would say give this objective, try to soak, get a couple of levels, and you need to take that 13 versus hopefully what will be a 15 fight.
Brother Keith, though, going in, trying to stall out this tribute fetch. But not too much can be done there. The stun going out, damage coming out, the silence, the isolation going onto Nazebo, and Fox with the follow-up. Now going in onto Tracer, but barely being able to get out alive. The retreat is on for Pigeon Stitches here.
Yeah, not a lot that NorthStars can do right now. Just sit back, soak the lands, maybe try to take a couple of your own camps. Avoid the fight for now, because right now NorthStars definitely, or not NorthStars, Pigeon Stitches definitely win that fight.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and you alluded to it earlier on, just Tracer not being able to do anything without the proper setup from the rest of the NorthStars here, which they haven't been able to find just yet. So Brother Keith has been running around trying to do what they can, zipping and zapping and zooping, but it's not really resulting in too much in favor of the NorthStars.
Wow, they don't scalp the Genji.
Wonder how this is gonna play out. Now there's 2 in the bush.
Another thing to note, Tahaka is just pushing top right now against the will of Brother Keith. Brother Keith not being able to do anything to stop that push. Genji in trouble. Not Genji in trouble, Genji making the trouble for Vala in the bottom.
Yeah, the damage coming out from Fox here. Already with the 2 picks, the stasis is going to come out for Nazebo, but Nakani is going to fall. Stats for Cats on the retreat, but Fox with the movement speed ends up taking out 4, and Tracer is left here by herself. Diablo ends up having souls spent, reset to 0, and so it's going to be, I think, a long time coming before we see that stacked up again.
It definitely will, especially since they can't push out from their what will amount to the keeps now. Total map control is being. Oh, that's a dead tracer.
Yeah,
That was a good tongue.
that was an amazing tongue coming out here from Black and Avian. Good read. Snow coming out from Jaina, though. The Lornado pulling into Haka, but the movement with Burrow. The shield to make sure Dahaka stays out of the death zone is a great retreat. Great reflexes coming out from B-Pipe there on that Uther.
Absolutely, and they're moving in to take what will be the second curse of the game. And this, depending on how the fight goes afterwards or during, this may end it.
Might end it. Nakani again getting caught. The ice block is there for a little bit, but Zevo's going to fall first. Fox tapping that tribute. Now the question is, do Pigeon Stitches go for the boss, or do they just push? They have the curse. It looks like they are going to focus on pushing here. The gate is mostly down. 20 seconds left before Nazevo is even back, so this is going to give them great opportunity to get some additional picks and to get this keep down.
Absolutely, this is the right call. You don't even need the boss's damage at this point. You're 3 levels up, you're a Talon up. Make use of it, you've got the curse. Honestly, if you can get 1 or 2 picks here, this will be game ending.
It looks like game ending is the plan. The Lornado comes out. The Lightning Breath as well. Purification Salvo and Ring of Frost connecting there. B-Pipe looks like going to fall. Diablo ends up falling first. However, Dead Uther still trying to heal up the team. Jaina going to go down next. Decker Kane ends up getting tongued. Medicant not falling just yet, but it's looking close, and that is going to be a almost wipe. Medicant surviving for the time being, but 1 Decker Kane versus 4 members of Pigeon Stitches. Not necessarily sure that this defense will amount to anything, but Decker tried.
Old man hitting that Dahaka with the stick, trying to make him stop. That will definitely be game 1, though, going in favor of Pigeon Stitches, and what a dominant performance.
Yeah, absolutely. There was no breathing room for the NorthStars there. The Tracer pick really painting them into that hole where they didn't have the solid engage potential that I think they were looking for with that initial pick, especially without any additional shielding coming out for those deep dives as well. So the response of Genji, Uther, and everything else on the side of Pigeon Stitch is really giving them a run for money in game 1. 21 kills to 4, and we can see just how much damage that Genji was popping out there. Almost 40,000, almost 10,000 more than Nazeebo is actually able to do. Jaina and Tracer having a rough time.
Absolutely. That was a very short game, too. I mean, we had one team just reach,
16.
Beginning of level 18? That was it?
Yep, we only have max of 16 talent here for Pigeon Stitches, 13 on the side of the NorthStars. So, I mean, that was quite the crazy game 1. Pyro, imagine yourself as NorthStars right now. What are you thinking? What are you doing in these minutes that we're setting up lobby to prepare for game 2 after something like that?
So I can say that without a doubt, it's much easier to come back from a total crush than it is a very near game. If you're very, very close and say like the other core is only at 17% and you lose, it's very easy to beat yourself up mentally for that. Whereas a total crush, you can say, hey, that's their map. We don't play a lot of cursed, or we messed something up. Let's just reset. Let's do this instead. I feel like NorthStars have the opportunity to do so now. Whether they will or not is yet to be seen.
Yeah, trying to really reset there. NorthStars did opt for hero pick in game 1. So like you mentioned, knowing that it was the other opponent's map. Cursed Hollow, also not a map that I think a lot of teams are practicing on or really experiencing as they used to, making it a bit more difficult to prepare in these. There's a lot for them, it seems to, you know, I talked about this in our first matchup tonight as well. You just gotta take a deep breath and reset yourself and not let the events of match 1 or game 1 have too much of an effect on you in game 2 as best you can. Sometimes it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah, I'll give anyone doing a little bit of research, a little bit of lowdown on my team. We ban Cursed Hollow every single game.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to play it. We don't want to see it. We don't practice it because we know that the objectives are a little bit wonky in how they spawn, and it's a very easy map to snowball on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean,
So-
we totally saw it there too, so totally coming from.
Yeah, so we'll see how they reset. It looks like they're both ready.
Yeah, they are ready to go into game number 2. Let's go. And I was telling you too, ending the night on Towers of Doom, I think, even if one game was a stomp, coming to Towers of Doom, anything can happen here. You can come back from having, you know, a 1 to 20 core health situation to a 1 to 1 at the very last seconds of the game. So I'm excited to see how the NorthStars end up approaching.
Absolutely. I feel most of my games on towers end up with it just being a single tower or a single objective away from going either way. So this is definitely an exciting map to watch.
Abfair again coming out as a ban from Pigeon Stitches.
I was feeling that was a little bit more centered at Cursed Hollow than it was at NorthStars. But this is making me rethink. Having an Abathur ban, first ban, on Towers of Doom may be a bit of a target ban, and that is absolutely a target ban on that Genji.
Absolutely. Not wanting to see Fox on that hero again. Quite the understanding and control of that zippy ninja. Wondering if we're going to see the reprise of Rainer ban coming out from Stitches here. We're going to go with the Asmodan.
I like the Asmodan ban. He's got a very, very strong stall, especially in the solo if he chooses to go down to the bottom for the first objective. It's a good ban, and it's very, very easy for him to get a lot of stacks on this map.
Right, for sure. The nature of the objective really lends itself to that. So we've been seeing Asmodan bans left and right here. This one I think overall makes a bit more sense, and we're going to see Dahaka banned out, taking that hero away potentially from Black Navy.
Yeah, I like the ban on the Dahaka. He's very strong on this map yet again, and Pigeon Stitch has just proved how well they use that hero. And they pick up James Rayner, start us off.
Starting it off with right-click Jimmy, who, with that Banshee, once we're hitting level 10, that Rainer is going to be quite the nuisance, I think, regardless of the draft coming out of the NorthStars. I don't think this is really a world where we see Hyperion. We see it once in a while, but given that this is less about directly pushing into lanes, I don't think we're as likely to see that. We're going to have the Deckard and Johanna picked up for the NorthStars.
I really like that those first two pickups for NorthStars as versus to that Tracer pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Deckard is almost universally good nowadays, and Johanna's probably the tankiest tank in the game as it stands. So they've got a lot of utility and a lot of routes to go right now.
And the blinds from Johanna against that Rainer causing a bit of a nuisance as well. We're seeing a Muradin come up here again, but we're going to see a Kael'Thuzad coming in that 3 rotation.
I'm curious to see what type of solo lane they're going to try to pair here, because Muradin doesn't really offer Kael'Thuzad the lockdown that he would like in guaranteeing his combos.
Still seeing the Tracer banned out here. It wasn't necessarily the most impactful hero in Game 1.
I actually like the Tracer ban here because Tracer can make a good Kael'Thuzad into a bad Kael'Thuzad.
He is pretty soft, even though he's made of bone. I guess because he's made of bone and ice, very fragile.
Bullets seem to impact it.
Yeah. I could see a Pulse Bomb giving Kael'Thuzad a hard time. Pick up with the Jaina again. It's going to be paired with a Falstad here. Bit of that global potential.
I really like the Falstad global. Being able just to either stall a tower or win the tower and then immediately fly to aid his team in capturing a different tower. There's a lot of value to be had in Falstad on this map. I would like to see Falstead go bribe. It's not necessarily something that is really great on most maps, but the sappers on this map have so much potential.
It would speed them up, especially if you're waiting for that closer to shrine spawn time to be able to quickly bribe a camp, grab those zappers, and have them pushing while you then fly over to assist your team in grabbing those shrines. Could have a lot of macro potential there. We're gonna have an Ana coming out top of a blaze.
Hell, it's about damn time.
I'm staring at Ana. I'm staring at Ana.
Maybe not the solo healer we were expecting, but
It's the one
with
we
the
deserve
Kel'Thuzad,
here in this evening.
yeah. But given Kel'Thuzad that additional spell power, it can do a lot. But I love the Tychus pickup on the other side against that Muradin, against the Blaze. Tychus is going to have a good day if he doesn't get locked down.
Yeah, the Uther ban coming out, I think partially safety, possibly maybe a B-pipe special coming out there, but having that stun taken away, not giving the option to have that follow through there, I think, but the NorthStars in a bit better of a position. I'm liking their draft far more in game number 2 than I did in game number 1, especially you know, picking up that Johanna, not going with something crazy like that Tracer without necessarily the protection around her. It's just about that Kel'Thuzad and that Ana. They gotta, you know, keep their game up if they're gonna be successful.
I agree. I feel like after draft 1, we were saying, well, NorthStars has to do this in order to win. And they've turned it around in Met Draft number 2, where we're saying, well, now it's Pigeon Stitches who has to do this in order to win. Whereas NorthStars have a very solid draft. I really like the setup that they have.
They have a very interesting setup, and let's see if they can get a win here in game number 2. In the red, we have the NorthStars. We're going to have stats for Cats on Tychus. We're going to have Jonas again on Jaina, Mendicant on Decker, Kane Nakani on Johanna, and Brother Keith on the Falstead.
In blue, we've got Pigeon Stitches, Blackened Avian on Blaze, CM Shives on Kel'Thuzad, B Pipe on Ana, Fox on Raynor, and Deathchild Area on Muradin.
Immediate stun from Deathchild onto stats for Cats there, trying to get the damage out. The snow immediately falling as well.
Blaze needs to be careful.
Yeah, this is a quick brawl here. Stats for Cats ends up
Now
being
it's Tychus.
separated from the team, and Tychus gonna fall there. Very early first blood, and it's going to be a second here in a second. Woo.
Yeah, that fight went on a little bit longer than I would have liked to see NorthStars engage. They had a very good opening start. Tychus putting out a lot of damage. They need to just be able to go back and say, well, we're going to play the poke game against this guy.
Yeah, instead they definitely tried all in there, and whether or not it was miscommunication or not, Tychus, that separation was great to take advantage of on the side of Pigeon Stitches and forcefully making sure there was no way for him to retain the rest of the team there. So great early rotations coming out from both these teams. Black and Avian pairing up here with that Tychus in the top lane. Raynor having a great time, though, against Falstead here, who's getting pretty low. Oh, the bullet
Very
almost confirmed.
Notable talent to mention, Falstead did go bribe. So maybe we're going to get to see a little bit of that macro pressure, but Jaina falls to the 4-man gank.
Pigeon Stitches is out for blood and as much as soon as possible. This is NorthStars. They just need to relax a little bit. I think maybe they're still a bit tense from game 1, or maybe they didn't have the proper time to warm up, like maybe you had mentioned in 1. But something's up, and I think there's maybe something in their head that they just need to sit back, relax, and maybe not try to take too much too soon here.
I agree. Something commendable for NorthStars. Tychus absolutely dominating the Blaze in this top lane.
Being able to push back. And I have to watch out for gank potential if stats for Cats keeps going in that far at the very least, but vision of these heroes elsewhere on the map, giving them a bit more confidence in pushing out that lane against that Blaze. But we're going to have the shrines popping up here soon, Tyro, in a couple seconds. The zappers were grabbed for Pigeon Stitches. They're gonna run into this gate here. We're gonna have to see how the teams decide to split their resources here.
It looks like it's going to be fairly standard to start off. We're going to have each team grabbing their respective shrine and then fighting over the bottom middle shrine.
And the
This is a 4 versus 3 bottom,
Ooh, yeah, it is.
and Deckard is in a lot of trouble.
Quite a bit of trouble. Ends up backing away. The Sappers ended up being procced and put a bit more damage onto the members of the Northstars. Blaze initially wasn't at the top shrine, but rotated down quickly. Make sure that was converted. So 2 to 1 in favor of Pigeon Stitches here. Trying to see what else they can do in the meantime on this map. What camps they can grab, what fight potential they can have. Because it seems like if there's any potential for a fight, they're okay to go in.
Yeah, and Pigeon Stitches is definitely looking for blood. They're running a 4-man gank squad from start to finish on both maps. And I like to see the aggressiveness. It makes for interesting casts.
It absolutely does. We want to see bodies hitting the floor, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what pleases us the most. So bring it in, but yeah, having these teams be very aggressive, I feel like on Towers of Doom
Gank bottom?
specifically.
Raynor uses his bullet and will escape.
Is there a follow-up though? Only Murden and Raynor, so maybe not necessarily, but stats for Cats getting low there.
Tyka's taking a lot of free damage from Raynor.
Survive for now. Zappers though have to be dealt with and should be dealt with pretty easy from the combination of these two heroes. Blaze grabbing the top cam while this is all going on. Ooh, Death for Child getting very low. That's for Cats trying to finish it off, but just not enough in range. Death Child area getting the escape. Fox getting the escape there. Now the rest of the team coming down for the fight.
Falstead in a lot of trouble. Wow. Misses the hook on the sleeping target. But Falstead falls regardless.
Really put the fall in Falstead.
Yeah, that's clever. I like it.
But yeah, it was surprising. Tychus is going to fall here. Nakani in a very terrible position, caught off from the rest of the team. Mendicant trying to throw down the potions, but Decker Kane now the target here, ends up backing away just fine. This shrine quickly the focus now for Black and Even being able to pick that up there. And what an engagement. 2 heroes falling there for the NorthStars. Falstad flying up here to mid just to try to get this soak in as soon as possible. And we have a 1-level lead here for Pigeons.
Falstead flying into, or not flying in, but getting caught by the hook from Kel'Thuzad and dying to the Kel'Thuzad Raynor combo.
Yeah, that was a very aggressive fly, I would say. Just go into the middle of the lane. You know 2 of your members were just picked and are just about alive, but you don't know where the rest of your opponents are, so very risky, I would say, going that far into a minion wave.
We've got a 3-man gank coming in from Pigeon Stitches, looking for the Tychus, doesn't connect. And Murden Raynor going on the Tychus, and he will fall. Joanna trying to make a run for her life at this point.
Yeah, there was a little bit of focus on that Kel'Thuzad for a minute, but that just distracted, I think, Nakani from protecting stats for Cats there. Able to get that pick off, get that level 10 as well coming in, and I'm realizing how many of these heroics are blue for Pigeon Stitches here, which I'm just really enjoying that heroic color synergy. Brother Keith, though, getting caught out, tries to barrel roll away, the spike comes out, trying to get the hook in from behind the wall. A little bit of very interesting going on there, but the bird still falls, and the kill still achieved for Pigeon Stitches.
Pigeon Stitches is at 10, and NorthStars needs to avoid this fight like the plague, but they are going in.
And the trap propulsion from Blaze, the follow-up from Kel'Thuzad. Jaina is going to fall first. Stats for Cats, taking a lot of that damage from the ignition from Blaze. With the stun follow-up, ends up falling. Johanna with the condemn, but condemning for who is the question. Just kind of going in, not to save anybody. And Nakani is able to get away from that scenario, but once you lose the Jaina and once you lose the Tychus in that scenario, what else are you really defending for? And the Jaina, for that matter.
Absolutely. Right now, I feel like you didn't really need all 5, but they're in such a commanding position, I don't know if it really matters. They're going to push here, they're going to take... They'll probably get this fort unless NorthStars can muster up a defense that I don't know if it's coming or not.
Yeah, they're at least trying with these 3 heroes that they have, but I think they would need just a little bit more. They truly want to thwart it, but Pigeon Stitches looking like they don't necessarily want to fight something that they don't 100% need here with this conversion, but they're still sticking around, not necessarily rotating elsewhere on the map. They have the experience. Level 10 is picked up finally for the NorthStars, so they have a 1-level gap where they can at least fight on equal talents for what seems like the first time in forever in this game.
Interesting rotation from Falstead, not flying, but coming down from top. Not really a gank to be had, though.
A lot of damage going on Fox in the mid, though, but there was just not enough damage after the slow to convert the kill. So a rotation, not necessarily for too much here. Johanna sticking around by the gate way too long. This is going to be a gank for sure. The sleep was there. The spike was out and missed, but the kill is still converted. I am surprised that the NorthStars are still sticking around here.
You know, they need to be gone. And stats for Cats here is going to fall for sure.
Yeah, Death Child Area going in onto Jonas as well, trying to see if they can get another pick here. On the other side of the map, though, Kel'Thuzad is chasing the Falstad. The Ring of Frost is out. Fox able to narrowly avoid it, though. Had 9 health left there. So close of a kill, but all for naught. Both these shrines going over in favor. The bell tower in bottom just fell as well, so this is going to be an extra shot for Pigeon Stitches on that second shrine capture.
I am lord of this realm, and it will...
We talked about how this is a big comeback map where you can easily turn things around, but this is the time. They're already down. They're down 21 shots. If they're going to turn it around, now is the time. And I expect to see Pigeon Stitches start to turn towards this boss.
Yeah, they would definitely have that in their wheelhouse. We're going to have to see where the location of the Falstad is. It is behind the gate at the very least, here in the mid lane. It just seems like the NorthStars, they don't know when to leave. And they are willing to run into situations at a known disadvantage and act like they don't exist, but can they turn something around here? Blaze is up in top. Kel'Thuzad is going to fall first. This might be exactly what NorthStar needs. B-Pipe is getting incredibly low. Decker Kane, though, going to fall in the response. Odin trying to put out as much damage. Stats for Cats hanging out in the back, popping as much as possible, but I think it's only going to be the single pick here in a 4v5, and the NorthStars not even being able to get the advantage there.
That was a beautiful Ornado from Deckard Cain pushing KTZ back into that fort. But in the end, it just wasn't enough to win the fight.
And we see another pick coming out onto that Tychus as well. So even after the fight seemingly was over, the re-engage on the side of Pigeons trying to capitalize on something after they lost a person the first time in this game ends up paying off. Bell tower in the bottom, Whisk and Rebecca. We're back to a 4-for-4 in terms of shouts per tower. There's absolutely no issue here for Pigeon Stitches to go in on the shrine in top.
Janna being pushed out bottom, Raynor taking that, and they are moving. Falstead falls. They're on to Tychus. Tychus looks like he's going to get away, but Deckard is not so lucky. Tychus may be overstaying his welcome.
Yeah, I think trying to get that tickle damage in, the spike was there. The follow-up, though, from Kel'Thuzad, not meant to be. And we're going to have 3 health left on the side of the NorthStars. Pigeon Stitches focusing on this boss. Raynor did go down in bottom, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think the members of NorthStars know that this boss call is happening, or at least aren't rotating to it. And that, unfortunately, for the NorthStars, a very quick 2-0 in favor of Pigeon Stitches here tonight.
I have opened a tunnel near our
I started the night with 2 really long games, ending it with 2 really short games.
Yeah, that was very, very one-sided. I don't know. I felt like NorthStars just wasn't in it tonight. Few bad calls, a few bad fights, and you've got 2 very short games.
Yeah, we talked about it. They just seem so eager for something there, and I appreciate the eagerness. But when you're down a talent and you're still you lose a team member and you're still trying to do a some kind of gank push 4v5 against an opponent with the upper hand, it just doesn't really play out. And so, I commend the NorthStars for trying to be aggressive there, but their opponents being able to finish a lot of the mistakes that came of that.
All right, we do have Blackened Avian in the lobby waiting for us. Shall we go?
Yeah, let's go over. Blackened Avian, congratulations on your win tonight. How are you feeling after those 2 incredibly fast games?
Not bad. I mean, we just, we kept our heads together and we pulled out both wins.
Yeah, for sure. And you had really dominant performances in both of them. When we were talking about game number 1, your opponents had that first pick Tracer. Was that something you were expecting them to pick out? What were you thinking about when that was their first lock-in?
Well, usually when someone first picks something like that Tracer, I always feel that that means they're going to be very strong and dominant with that. That first pick is a high priority slot, especially since I also know that that's what they wanted before the draft. They wanted that first pick. So when they decided on Tracer for it, we knew that we needed to make sure that we had something to counter her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you had seemingly a lot to counter her with. She wasn't really able to be, in our opinions, provide much value whatsoever with a lot of the punish you had to follow up there. And then game number 2, you picked the Kel'Thuzad Ana. What are your feelings on those heroes overall? Were they, is it a very specific niche pocket pick for Towers of Doom, or do you think both of them have a broader purpose here in Heroes of the Storm?
I don't think either one is particularly effective on Towers of Doom. Just we were running it as more of a nice roaming gank comp.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they have great places in the Nexus, both Ana and Kel'Thuzad. And sometimes they don't combo well together, but we decided to try and make that one work.
Very cool. Thank you. Tyro, questions that you have?
Yeah, I've got one for you. You just mentioned that you wanted to put him in a roaming gank comp. And just from casting, watching those games, it seems like you were running that gank basically from the word go in both games and finding so much success with it. Is that something you guys practice a lot, or?
Sometimes we practice that. Right now we're just mainly practicing the rotation, and something that the comp facilitates just us rotating enough to soak lanes and then get those kills. And it also, in the way I see it, also will help us later when we don't run those comps just for the pure rotations.
All right. I don't actually think I've got any other questions for you. That was a very quick but entertaining match.
Yeah, we were quite entertained by that. So congratulations, and before we let you go, we want to give the floor over to you for any shout-outs.
Alright, I've been told that I need to give a couple shout-outs to, first my team, and I guess another shout-out to the one team member who was too busy to come down and play with us tonight. So, shout-outs to Shives, Fox, Deaf Child Area, B-Pipe, and then to Killer Fry.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much, Black and Avian. Congratulations, and good luck to you in the rest of Season 5.
Alright, well thank you.
Have a great night.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap here for us tonight for the Nexus Gaming Series. But don't go away, because I think we still have Game of the Week running over on the Nexus Gaming Series channel. So we'll go and raid them over in just a bit. But before we do that, Pyro, thanks so much for joining me again. And, you know, those who didn't see your casts last time you were here, where can the folks find you if you maybe want to talk more analysis and like that?
I'm hoping to be doing a lot more casting for NGS. This is actually cast number 4 for me, so I'm super excited to get going there. Other than that, I'm just going to be spending a lot of time practicing and playing, so best chance to find me is to find me in the Nexus.
I like it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to stick around, join that raid over to the Nexus Gaming Studio. And as for me, that's going to be it for tonight. So thanks everyone for coming out and supporting these teams. Cold Cake, thank you for that raid earlier as well. Really appreciate it there. And next time on the Nexus Gaming Studio. So thank you and have a great night.